Hey everyone. So with the announcement yesterday, I believe, of I think it was yesterday or the other day, I believe, no, it was yesterday, of the entire, I think was it yesterday? I can't remember. Hold on, guys. Let me check something while I do this. Should have checked it before I went live. See, yeah, the other day I should say, yeah, the other day, not yesterday, but the other day. With the 5-hour announcement of Avengers Doomsday and the revelation that we're going to be getting the X-Men from the 20th Century Fox X-Men, although that's kind of being put up for debate because a lot of people are assuming, and rightfully so, that, yeah, these are going to be X-Men characters played by the actors that made them who they are on the big screen initially, but that they're going to represent more of the animated version of the X-Men than anything else. And if that's the case, then there's obviously going to be a bit of a tie-in. Excuse me. There's going to be a bit of a tie-in to the animated series that is currently part of Disney Plus, that being X-Men '97. Now, a lot of people might say, well, that's kind of weird since one of the characters died and it's coming back pretty much as an agent of death in the future seasons, and that's true. But this could be the other version we saw in Deadpool and Wolverine mixed together with the versions that might represent the animated series that's currently part of Disney Plus. Although they might just represent the 2000s films and all that, because that's what the Wolverine supposedly that Hugh Jackman was playing represented in Deadpool and Wolverine. Although he was playing a different variation, but back and forth, you get the idea. But whatever the case may be, it did get me thinking about, what's going to be happening because, recently we did get the announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, I just checked something there. We did get the announcement that season 2 is going to be happening, but it's not going to be happening until at least next year. And also, along with that, we got the announcement that we are going to get a season 3, which we could assume would either be the following year in 2027 or maybe 2028. Seeing as though they're holding off on season 2 until next year, and season 1 wrapped up last year, then we can assume that basically, if the same situation and scenario presents itself with the ending with season 2 ending, that basically season 3 might be another 2-year wait and all that. Although they might be working on both of them, coherently right now, simultaneously right now. Going forward, so that way we don't have to wait too long with season 3 after season 2. But I gave my thoughts on season 2 and where I think it's going to lead and all that, and I meant what I said by the fact that when I did the video on Rogue and how I feel she's not going to stay evil and all that forever. I mean, we already saw that with the finale and everything. But the fact that she's not going to stay bad or anything forever, because when you read the comics and everything, she does become leader of the X-Men, and she does apparently have new powers developing, or not developing, but she's getting new powers, so to speak, to add to her repertoire, as leader and everything of the X-Men. So for her to be presented in the way she was towards the end of season 1 and everything, and kind of finally and already getting ready to head down that initial redemption arc of, hey, I let my emotions get the best of me and I should have known better. With them already planning her, basically her redemption and making up for, hey, going rogue, to coin a phrase, to paraphrase, if you will, going rogue and, wanting to, do her own thing because she let her emotions get the best of her. To me, that's just the first step, not just to a redemption for her, but the first step for her to become leader, because there's always that talk that, they're not going to have Cyclops and Jean Grey on the team, probably, I would assume after season 2, maybe the end of the season 3, but there's that rumor and that speculation that that's going to potentially happen. And if it does, then Rogue going through what she's going through right now, it pretty much is a perfect setup for her to not only redeem herself and remember why she joined the X-Men and all that, and how she has to not let her emotions get the best of her, but it also will, enable her to learn that even leaders, fail at times. Even leaders, fail their teammates and everything. And sometimes that's just something you got to learn to deal with and grow from and all that, so that it doesn't happen again. So again, I still stick by the fact that she's not going to stay evil and all that. I mean, the outfit we got from her basically is that outfit right there. If you can see it in the camera view, it's that outfit right there that she's wearing. So again, I don't think she's going to stay evil forever, evil at all. I think after season 2 is over, at least to the halfway point of season 2, she's going to be back on the X-Men team. She's going to be back with the professor. She's going to be following his lead and basically trying to make up for the mistakes she made by letting her emotions and her anger get the best of her and all that. But what I do also see as well, basically, and I said this when I talked about my predictions for the finale of season 1 and what I feel season 2 is going to have. Basically, I felt and believed that what's going to occur is you're going to have the professor and you're going to have Magneto both agree, that, both are right in their respective opinions. Professor X, he's going to look at Magneto and he's going to be like, look, you're right. Not everybody's going to trust us right away, if at all. There's going to be those that want us gone, and they'll go as far as putting others in danger and then put the blame on us. He says, I get it, I get, it's like, he'll be more along the lines of, I get it, I see where you're coming from that perspective, but you also have to agree that there are those that are willing to accept us, that are willing to give us a chance to live among them. And then that's when Magneto, in respect, will be like, yeah, you're right, there are those that will be willing to give us that chance. But his justification, in agreeing with that would be, yes, there are those that will be willing to give us that chance, but it's going to be hard to, figure out, who they are going to be. Like, you look at this crowd, people and everything, just millions of people out there, and you don't know which ones are going to be on your side and which ones won't. And that, that's going to be the initial justification to the agreement of, he gets where Xavier's coming from, but he also has to understand that, how do we know that those that say they want to help us can't be trusted, and stuff like that. So, so I definitely, I definitely feel like, we're going to get something to that extent between the two, as we progress through season 2, and maybe at the end of season 2, where there's that mutual agreement and understanding of, yeah, I get where, like, again, with Xavier saying, hey, I get where you're coming from and all that, I understand that. And then you have Magneto basically being like, yes, and I understand where you're coming from, but they also kind of understand the situation of, there are those that want to help us, but trying to figure out those that want to help us is going to be hard to do, because you don't know who you can trust among humans and whether or not they have the best intentions in mind. So I definitely feel that, we're going to get something to that extent, along with Rogue's character, growing and developing and eventually becoming the leader that she's going to be. Because I think what's going to happen, honestly, either it's at the end of season 2 or maybe the end of season 3, because we don't know how many seasons the show is going to get. So let's just say, for argument's sake, that season 3 could be it. The way they're building Rogue up right now and going into season 2, and they're doing the same with Storm. Right now, we don't know what Storm's at initially and everything. But what they're doing, to me, again, building Rogue up as the potential new leader, I think they're also doing the same with Storm. I see Storm kind of like getting ready to take on that mantle. And I think what's going to happen at the end of the day, when the show is over, with this, the third season is the last season, is I see Scott Summers, Cyclops, and Jean Grey walking away. I see them basically hanging it up and saying, we want to go live our lives now. Things are stable. We can live in peace or semi-peace. And we want to hand off, leadership over to those that we feel will carry it into the future, and it, help it, continue to live on. And I feel that that's going to be Rogue and Storm in the long run. That's what I feel is going to happen. And that's why you have, like I said earlier, you have Rogue going through this situation and all that as well. As far as like where the characters are initially, after season one, we know where Jean Grey and Cyclops and Scott are and everything. We know where they are. We know, I think, where the others have landed as well, and everything. So we all know kind of where they're at, initially, and possibly where the others have gone to as well. And if there is a bit of a tie-in to what's going on in the actual MCU to this, then that's pretty much a get out of jail free card, in my opinion, when it comes to those kind of situations. But I still stick by what I said about season two. About season two, I feel like we're going to have development in Rogue in a big way, and I feel that if the show is only going to go for 3 seasons, that either at the end of season two or maybe at the end of the series period in season three, that's when the mantle of leadership is going to be passed on to her, potentially Storm as well, and then Jean Grey and Cyclops will, go off and live in peace, and Xavier might even step away and go back and live in space with Lilandra, and just go from there. But that's just my opinion of what I see happening in the next season, if not the next 2 seasons, initially. But what do you guys think? What do you think is going to happen in season two? Along with what do you agree with along with what I said? And do you think whatever happens in season two will definitely have an effect in what happens in season three? Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Comment if you like. And until then, I am out.